welcome once again. Welcome to our program, Ghazali. Compliments of the season first. My name is Frankie Fernandez, and I come to you from Melbourne. My guest this evening is a Goan at heart, but currently living and studying in Mumbai. Um, you guys have always seen her YouTube. She's a very popular YouTuber. Right now, she's got over 30,000 plus subscribers on a YouTube channel. Truly young, truly Goan. Please welcome Emiliana Rebelo, the YouTuber. Welcome to our program, Emiliana.
Thank you so much, Mr. Frankie, for having me in this segment. And before we move any further, I would like to take this opportunity to thank the Prudent Media Network and especially Mr. Frankie for giving me this opportunity and hosting this. So yeah, I'm very much excited for this segment, and that's that.
All right, thank you. Thank you very much for your kind words. Now, Oli Emiliana,
Yeah,
less than a year since you started off as a YouTuber,
that's right.
and your growth has been substantial, over 30,000 subscribers, and you often hit the 1 lakh viewers for your YouTubes that are very frequent on Sundays. Tell us about it.
Okay, so I would say that I've started, I think, on 13th of April, very Catholic of me. On Easter Sunday, I posted my first ever video. And since then, it's been a learning curve and it's been a journey. I'm still learning. And I'm really grateful for the Goan audience for giving me so much of support. You know, like I think 70% of my audience is Goan for that matter. And it's because of them that I have what I have. So that's that. It's been an amazing journey, if you would ask me.
Now, your YouTubes, they've got a mix of Mumbai as well as Goa. Where do you
Correct.
draw your inspirations from?
Personally, I draw my inspirations, I think, from the normal things that I observe. For example, if I see something funny, then I would write it down and then I sit and make a whole script about that. So I think my inspiration would be the surroundings and the people for that matter. Otherwise, if you ask me from like a role model point of view, my inspiration is my elder cousin and this motivational speaker called Gary Vee. Because of him, I have put my first video, to be very honest, because I never had the confidence to do that. I always wanted to do YouTube, but it's been like 3 years since I have been postponing it. And this lockdown, I just saw one of the motivational video and I just posted my first video. And since then, I've been doing that.
Now, given that you've had absolutely no or not much of technical experience
Right.
as a YouTuber, how did it all begin? Or rather, how did this journey start for you?
So initially, how normal people have a perspective that, you just have to shot a video, edit it and put it. No, there's like a lot of things that go behind it. I have to filter out every word I say. I mean, sometimes you have to care less because you cannot please everybody. And technicalities have been a real task for me. As can I give an example of
Yes,
what
please, go ahead.
happened? So once one of my videos was getting age restricted and I had no idea why it was. So what happened was I spent 24 hours figuring that out and my audience is waiting for my video. It was a Sunday. Finally, it happened so that some of my words that I was saying in Konkani got translated in English to some bad word. And it was against the YouTube community guideline. And that's how I had an age restriction. So can you imagine how minute that can be?
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, you lived in Goa till the age of 15, then you moved to
Correct.
Mumbai to do your
Yeah.
studies. Now, was there any particular reason that you've been keeping your YouTubes mainly focused to Goa?
So when I started up in April, I never had an intention to put out Goan content. It's only after the Goan auntie that took off. I was like, okay, Goan audience and my own people of my kind are watching it. So why not curate something along those lines because they're enjoying that. And that's how it started. So that's how I went into the Goan niche. To be honest, I'm still figuring it out. So Goan is working. Maybe I'll start vlogging soon. Maybe I'll do something else along the lines and see how that goes. But that's how I got into Goan topics, because my Goan auntie video took off. Otherwise, I would never know that I could do this.
Now, as far as the Goan auntie is concerned, that was one of the YouTube that really went berserk everywhere. Over 1 lakh views.
Correct.
Did you anticipate that?
No, I did not. I never did. So I think some person downloaded my video and put it on Facebook, and there was a lot of sharing on across WhatsApp. And then from there, I started getting a lot of subscribers and people DMing me that they love the Goan Auntie video. In fact, when I was invited for a radio interview, the RJ itself used to call me the Goan Auntie. That's how I was known as, So I never expected that.
All right. Now, when you're processing your content for this YouTube, I know that you hit every Sunday, and people are just waiting to watch your YouTubes.
I hope so.
How long does it actually take for you to create the content for each YouTube?
I'm so glad you asked that question, because people think I can make a video in a day, but that's not the thing. First thing is I have to sit down, write a script and research it. That can take me 2 to 3 hours. Then the shooting takes 4 to 5 hours and editing takes 7 to 8 hours. So I can say 2 to 3 days to make one video. That's how it
All right.
takes. Yeah.
Okay, that's quite interesting. One of your YouTube was North Goa versus South Goa.
Yeah.
And I think that is also one of the YouTube which has done really well for you.
That's
Tell
right.
us a little bit about how did that one go into in terms of creating the content.
So, every time I visit my hometown, I see different kinds of people, okay? And they always say Eshkon Teshkon for the South Goans and Ohe Tohe for the North Goans. And I'd be like, wait, this is interesting. So I took that thing up. That script was difficult because I had to sit on Google and see each places, confirm the map. If I can't say a South location belongs to a North, people would unsubscribe to me. So that's how it went. And I took 3 weeks for that script because I wanted to give my time for it. And then I was happy because I expected a good response for that video. Unlike Goan Auntie.
Okay. Now, you often play a role of a male as well as your female. Now,
Yeah.
I'm sure your boyfriend would definitely have an attitude problem when he watches those YouTubes of yours.
I think he would have an attitude problem if he would existed. I don't have a boyfriend, but let me tell you something. A lot of girls have a crush on that male character of mine, and I get DMs. We have a crush on that boy character of yours, and he's so cute. I'm like, you're telling me I'm not cute as a girl? That's what you're trying to say. But yeah, it's my guy character is a hit. Even though I do not know how to draw a proper beard, people are so nice to me. I cannot explain how overwhelming it is sometimes. But I feel, yeah, my male character is what they want more than me. It's sad, but if they want that it's that.
I think the bottom line here is keeping your viewers and your subscribers happy with the content that they would love to watch, isn't it?
Correct. That's the bottom line. Because sometimes, there has to be a midpoint. It has to be something they like and something that I love to do. If it's something that they like and I don't like, then I'll be frustrated doing that. And that wouldn't be me. And it would be a lie as a creator. So we have to meet at the midpoint. So far, me and my audience are meeting at the midpoint. And I hope that this continues to be the same.
Well, having said that, it's not always that you would have people liking your YouTube. There'll be the occasional haters. How do you tackle them?
Whoa. Haters, it's crazy. So I get hate, and these are not criticizers, okay? I welcome criticism. You don't like my content, you don't like the way I speak, you don't like the way I do things. I get it. But hating to the core, for me, just being myself, like I get comments, you're an outsider, you're from Mumbai, why doing go on thing, do your own thing. And then there would be some auntie once commented on my Goan auntie video. I think she got offended. I don't know. She said, you know what? I'll put a case on you for this. You should be behind bars and all. So, but the conclusion is these people, they only tell you things that they don't understand. So if you don't know them personally, don't take them personally. Just laugh it off. That's what I do.
And no doubt, you always put in a disclaimer at the start of your YouTubes,
Still,
isn't it? Yeah.
still, they won't get it. They'll still hate me because they want to hate me, irrespective of
Uh,
what I do.
well, having said that, now in terms of the language, most of your YouTubes are in English.
Correct.
Have you given a thought process of doing something in Konkani?
So the thing is, at my home, I speak in English and Konkani mix, just the way I speak on my videos. So that's true to that. I don't speak whole Konkani. That wouldn't be me. I love my language. Please don't get me wrong. But I would like to keep my content similar to what I am and not what people would like. If I put a Konkani video, I know for sure it will receive a lot of love and they'll expect more of full Konkani videos. But then I wouldn't love doing full Konkani videos because, as I said, I don't speak entirely Konkani. Like it's a mix. So that's how it is. And I'm glad you asked this question again because I get a lot of comments, people asking me. But yeah, sometimes I do it. So I keep a balance. If you see, I have the Goan auntie, the North Goan versus South Goan, and Goan versus Nis Goankar. Some of my videos have major Konkani in them with subtitles. The second reason would be initially when I started, I had normal audience, not only the Goan audience. So they are my subscribers too. So for them, it gets a little.
Sort of a backlash from the Bardes Konkani?
No. The Bardis people are actually a lot, they are supportive, but they'll share, Bye, tuge Konkani, icon, aoi garako sashti ulopa laglo. They'll be like that. Bye, tuge icon. So, no, they do not give me any backlash as such, but they'll give me their experience, Hey, mugele girlfriend no South Andhra and now North Andhra. So, te shuleta. Like that, they'll comment and they'll tell me. So, it's fun.
All right. Now, are there any plans that you have in mind getting live on stage?
Actually, I'm working right now. I want to get into stand-up comedy, but I need a lot of working on that. As a person, I have stage fright, and I am camera conscious too. It's rare that I would say that because I'm a YouTuber, but I'm working on that. So probably maybe in some time I'll start doing stand-up comedy or something. So those are my plans so far.
All right. Now, in terms of your YouTubes, I've seen, I'm coming to this because of a stand-up comedian. Most of the stand-up comedians that I've seen over the few years, they try to be critical about politics. You've seen them yourself.
Correct,
Now,
yeah.
Your YouTubes have not been too critical in terms of the general politics that happens in everyday life for a Goan, a Mumbai, or a Indian.
Yeah, because I have to keep my content neutral as such. To be very honest, I have an audience, but not such an audience that if I say something can have an impact. So once I get that kind of audience and I can make some change and help from a political point of view, then I'll go for it. But as of now, I'm still growing and I cannot sit here and give my political opinions. Not everybody would like that. And yeah, that would be maybe in future when, I can help people. But when it came to Save Molem, I did that because I think every Goan should do that, irrespective of whatever the audience they have. Besides from that, the other politics, as of now, I don't want to get into that, I'd say.
All right. Now, in fact, when you mentioned about Save Molem, I did notice that particular YouTube of yours has been getting increasing number of views on a daily basis, isn't it?
Yeah, so the thing is, I put Save Molem in that particular video because I knew it would work. Very honestly, I knew it would work. So I did not put it in any of my 20K, 30K videos. I put it in that itself. So even if it's getting views, a lot of people are watching it. And in the end, that is that message that I want to give to people from my end. So yeah, that was my plan. I'm very happy most because I have the message in that and it's doing well.
Exactly, exactly. In terms of the feedback that you receive,
Yeah.
what's the best feedback that you have received um, since you started as a YouTuber?
I always get comments like, I've been having a very low day, and then I saw your video, I started smiling. Or my mother laughed looking at your video after a long time. And my baby is just smiling at your videos, even though she does not understand what you're saying. She just loves you. So these are kind of these are the type of comments that really make my day, and I think they motivate me to make more content.
And I think that's the core of Oli Emiliana, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the core of every content creator in the entertainment industry. They just want to bring a smile on other people's faces. And even if out of the 30,000 that I have, even if I make maybe quarter of it really laugh at my content, I think I have gained success in that era.
Now, in terms of your fan following, you walk onto the streets of Mumbai. Do you get recognized as such? Oh, that's Oli Emiliana. And how do you manage that sort of stardom?
I just started, and to be very honest, I was not expecting this, but so far since my YouTube channel, I've been recognized twice. And 2 days back, I was on Hill Road. I don't know if you know. I was having my Thaipuri, and there was this one really cute girl. She was just smiling, smiling, smiling. I think she was my age, smiling, smiling. And my cousins were like, "She's staring at you. I don't know why, but she's smiling in a good way." And then when I came across her, I asked her like, "Do I know you?" Because she was just smiling at me. And then she's like, "Yeah, I know you. I watch your videos on YouTube." And I was like, "Thank you so much." So that was the thing. In Mumbai, I do not expect that, because but apparently I underestimated our Goan community. It's like everywhere in the world, and it's crazy. So that was the experience that I recently had.
I must mention to you that I'm not sure whether you've noticed it. At least if I receive your, no doubt I've been a subscriber to your YouTube channel, but
Thank
most
you.
of the time I get your YouTube's links been sent to me either from the US, either from UK or the Middle East. Not much of like from Goa, but that shows that your reach has already been available in the
Yeah,
UK
yeah.
or US or the Middle East.
Yeah, because Goans are everywhere, and that's a very proud feeling. Like if I see my analytics, the first is India, of course. After that, it's the UK, Kuwait, Qatar, Australia, Doha, and some minute parts of the world that I've never heard of. I get views from there, and I'm really surprised. Wow, this is crazy. So yeah.
Now, what's your uh, dream initiative sort of? If I could ask you.
My dream initiative, if I happen to be someone with some power and success in life, I would like to do something along the lines of molestation. Like, I don't know, but if you look at the survey, every girl at one point of their life, they have been molested by someone, not only outside people but in the family. And it's really sad, because some of the small children, they don't realize that they are getting the bad touch. So I would like to do something along that lines, create awareness, create campaigns, and have some CSR along that line. So that would be my dream initiative.
And I think you would definitely have all the support that you need, especially uh, from the various women's organizations who would definitely look at you as, no doubt, as a YouTuber, but a YouTuber that has a massive following, isn't it?
I hope so. I hope so. I really want to make a difference, because you only live once. It's a very cliche thing, but it is what it is. Like, you do it now, or when you become old in your bed, and if you think about it, oh my God, I was young that time, I could have done that. It would be such a waste of your life. Like, now, if you can do it, just do it. At least you tried. That's my motto in life.
Exactly. Now, I should have asked this question a long time back at this, probably at the
Yeah.
start of the interview. Uh, you had actually no formal uh, training as such as creating a YouTube. Like I'm talking in terms of the technical part of it.
No. That's why I told you I had this 24 hours blunder of figuring that out. I have no formal training. YouTube itself is my teacher. You Google everything and anything, you'll find a tutorial on that. Even the editing part of it. In initial days, I was like really bad. But then now, my editing has got so much better because I watch the tutorials on YouTube and learn. I'm not saying I have the best editing, but yeah, it works for me so far.
But you also been a student of mass communications, isn't it?
Yeah. I have done my bachelor's in mass media, advertising major, and I'm also into digital marketing. But YouTube is completely different. YouTube in itself has a lot of other things that you have to learn. Digital marketing is just a whole area, like different kind of things. But YouTube is complicated until and unless you understand that. And I'm learning. I'll take time because I just started 8 months back, and my audience are very supportive. Sometimes, like my first video, till now, some of my videos, I have problem with my audio and video syncing. So now I've gotten help for that. So even that was a learning process.
I think you've been into this for the last 8 months or so, and it's been a long
Correct.
journey for you, isn't it?
Yeah, it has been.
If you look back to where you started off, did you anticipate that you would be doing so well 8 months down the line?
Not at all. I have a board. I say this, I have said this in one of my previous interviews. I have a board over there, 2020 goals. It's written start a YouTube channel, within a year, hit 1K subscribers. That is just 1,000 subscribers, which is a huge milestone for a new YouTuber because it's difficult to get in there. And I don't know. I think half of it has been the luck, half of it has been my hard work and the love of people. That's what I feel it is.
Okay. Now, I remember you mentioning to me the other day, you are from, you were born and brought up in Navilam in South
Yeah,
Goa.
correct.
You've not gone back to Goa, and you are expected to be in Goa uh, early next month.
Yeah, I'm going
What do you
on.
anticipate at this?
I don't know, but if I'm getting recognized in Bombay itself, I think few people would be able to recognize me there, and I'm excited to meet them in person. Like I want to see my subscribers in person. That would be a really warm feeling. Like they always see me on a screen, and now they'll see me in real. So I'm gonna tell them, if you see me somewhere around, don't hesitate. Just come and say hi because I am as goofy as you. You know. So that's the thing.
Okay. Now, before we wind up, one simple question that I wanted to ask you, that's in terms of the YouTubes that you create. You always have some sort of a message at the end of it, isn't it? Now, how
Yeah.
important is that message to you in your YouTubes?
It's important as my content because if I create good content and if my goals and my intentions are not for the welfare and the goodwill of other people, then I think it's of no use, right? So I feel it's as important as my content.
Exactly. Now, there was one particular YouTube that you did that was about FC Goa, isn't it?
Correct. Yeah.
You live in Mumbai.
Yeah.
Where do you stand? Is it FC Goa or Mumbai FC?
It's FC Goa, of course, and not because it's not because I if I say something else, people will come hunting me down. No, it's because Goa. It's my team. Win, maybe it wins or maybe it loses. It's still my team. I'll always support it. That's the thing. Even though I think this year some of the good Goan players are gone in Mumbai City FC, and then yeah, but I'll still be supporting Goa till the end because I know
All right.
someday, some season, it will win. It will win.
Okay. Now, this is apparently going to be probably the last episode of Ghazali for this year. We're almost at the end of 2020. Okay.
Yeah.
What's your message to all our viewers who are watching you at this moment?
Uh, my message to all the viewers who are watching me at this moment is you only live once. So this year that is coming ahead, try to do something productive for yourself that would take you ahead in life. I'm not saying make New Year resolutions and follow them the first week of Jan. No, you have to follow them throughout the year if you want to do something. So I would be like, and make realistic resolutions, okay? Don't make unrealistic resolutions. And I'm sure you all are going to do really well in life. At least I am trying to do the same. And lots of more to you guys, whoever are watching.
Anyway, thank you very much. Thank you, Emilina, for your time. And I'm sure what you started 8 months back, okay, is going to keep on soaring heights in the years to come. Thank you once again for all your time. And having said that, wish you and all the viewers watching this program, Ghazali, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to all you guys. And thank you once again for the Prudent Network and Mr. Frankie for having me. And I hope you all have a very good year ahead.
Now, before we sign off, your trademark sign that you do, let's do it once again.
Yes, so I say, until then, Mog and peace. Then I say, see you next Sunday. And then I say, bye, and go out of the camera like that.
Thank you very much. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Yeah.